The crystalline halls of the Valorian palace shimmered with bioluminescent light, casting ethereal shadows across Princess Hazal Kaya's angular features. She reclined on her levitation throne, her silver skin catching the ambient glow as she regarded the human diplomat with barely concealed amusement. Kevin stood at attention in his standard-issue coalition armor, the matte black plating scarred from a dozen conflicts across the outer systems. His helmet rested under one arm, revealing a weathered face that had seen too many cycles of war and negotiation. So this is what Earth sends? Hazal's voice carried the melodic quality of her species, but her words dripped with condescension. A warrior in a metal shell. Tell me, human, do you sleep in that ridiculous costume too? The court erupted in tinkling laughter, a sound like wind chimes in a storm. Hazal's attendants, all draped in flowing garments of liquid starlight, exchanged knowing glances. The princess had a reputation for testing diplomatic envoys, but humans were her favorite targets. Kevin's jaw tightened imperceptibly. Princess Kaya, I come bearing terms from the Coalition Council regarding the mining rights to— Oh, spare me the formalities, she interrupted, waving a four-fingered hand dismissively. I'm far more interested in why your people insist on wearing these cages. Are humans so fragile that you cannot breathe our air? So weak that you need metal skin? She rose from her throne, her towering 7-foot frame gliding toward him with predatory grace. The Valorians were known throughout the galaxy as one of the most advanced species. Their technology bordered on the incomprehensible, their lifespans measured in millennia, their psionic abilities unmatched. Perhaps the armor compensates for other inadequacies? Hazal circled him slowly, her luminescent eyes scanning the battle-worn plates. I've heard humans are remarkably short-lived. Barely a century if you're fortunate. And yet you wage wars, build empires, make demands of your betters. Another ripple of laughter from the court. Kevin remained silent, his expression carved from stone. He had faced worse than mockery. Plasma fire, vacuum exposure, hand-to-hand combat with species that could literally tear him apart. Words from a princess who'd never seen real conflict couldn't touch him. But Hazal wasn't finished. Tell me, does your coalition truly believe we'll negotiate with someone who hides behind metal plating? Who doesn't even have the courage to stand before us as they truly are? She tapped a nail against his chest plate, the sound echoing through the chamber. Remove it. Let me see what Earth actually looks like beneath all this posturing. The court fell silent, sensing they'd crossed from entertainment into something else. Even Hazal's most trusted advisors shifted uncomfortably. The human's eyes, a startling green against his tanned skin, had gone cold. You want to see what's beneath? Kevin's voice was quiet, controlled. As you wish, princess. He set his helmet on the polished floor with deliberate care. Then his hands moved to the release mechanisms at his collar. The magnetic locks disengaged with soft clicks that seemed deafening in the sudden silence. The chest plate came off first, revealing a standard-issue thermal bodysuit beneath. But more than that. Scars. Dozens of them, visible even through the thin material. Burn marks from plasma weapons. The telltale circular pattern of a Krex bite that should have been fatal, a long, jagged line across his ribs where shrapnel had nearly gutted him. Hazal's amusement began to falter. The arm guards came next. More scars. One arm bore the distinctive mottling of radiation exposure. Close-range nuclear detonation. Survived only because he'd been in a shielded bunker. The other showed old puncture wounds from a species that used biotoxins. Kevin had spent 3 weeks in medical suspension after that encounter. He removed each piece methodically, creating a pile of armor that represented the only thing standing between human fragility and a universe designed to kill them. When he spoke again, his voice carried the weight of every battle, every loss, every moment he'd continued fighting when his body screamed for him to stop. You're right, princess. We are fragile. We live short lives in a galaxy populated by species stronger, faster, and longer-lived than us. We don't have your psionic abilities. We can't breathe methane or survive in vacuum. We're not telepathic. We can't regenerate lost limbs. He stood before her now in just the bodysuit, every scar visible, every mark of survival on display. We wear armor because we know exactly how breakable we are. Because we've been broken before and kept going anyway. Because when a human falls, there are 10 more behind them ready to stand in that same spot. His eyes locked onto hers. We don't hide in our armor, princess. We earn the right to wear it. Kevin bent down and collected his helmet, leaving the rest of the armor in a pile at her feet. The Coalition's terms are on the data crystal I transmitted before this meeting. Accept them or don't, that's your choice. But I won't stand here and be mocked by someone who's never had to bleed for anything they've been given. He turned toward the exit, moving with the controlled precision of someone who'd learned to conserve energy, because he might need every ounce of it to survive. Human, wait! Hazel's voice had lost its mocking edge. Kevin paused at the threshold but didn't turn around. I'll be at my ship. You have 24 hours to respond to the Coalition's proposal. After that, we'll find other partners who understand what it means to stand together instead of above. He walked through the crystalline archway, leaving behind a court of immortals who were just beginning to understand that longevity meant nothing without something worth living and dying for. Behind him, Hazal stared at the abandoned armor, seeing it now for what it truly was. Not a costume or a crutch, but a promise. A declaration that humanity would suit up every single day and face a hostile universe, not because they were invincible, but because they refused to surrender. She picked up the chest plate, feeling the weight of it, seeing the dents and scorch marks up close. Each one told a story of survival against impossible odds. For the first time in her 3-century existence, Princess Hazal Kaya felt something she'd never experienced before: respect.